guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're doing the brakes on this 2018 Chevy Colorado. It's almost 6.5 years old and the brake's been making some noise, and I've already did the passenger side just to get an idea what I was in for, and it's too bad that what happened is one of them slider pins seized up, and you can see she pretty well wore one of the pads out while the other one still got quite a bit on it. So if that wouldn't have seized up, I probably could have got another year out of this. Okay, so I guess we'll start by removing the tire. Okay, so to remove the caliper, we get two 18mm bolts here. Just to make it easier, I got a power bar here. Use the power bar to loosen them. I must have a slider that's stuck too. It doesn't want to come off, so I got to use pry bar. I'm replacing the rotors, so I ain't too concerned. Okay, so we'll just set this up here. This one here looks like it had pretty much the same problem. One side wore out before the other, and you can see how that's wore to one side a little bit. Okay, to get this rotor off, there's a I think it's a T30. Hopefully this will come out. Won't cause me any grief. The other one will come out easy. This one here will too. Now, unlike most of you guys, I'm replacing the brake hoses too. They're a little corroded. They're not bad. You probably wouldn't have to replace the brake hoses. So if you're going to keep using your brake hose, you just make sure you hang this up. So I'm going to get some brake fluid coming out here, so I'm going to get some rags. It looks like this one, both sides are seized up. Okay guys, so I finally got that pin out. That was a major pain. But anyways, what I did, I had to bolt it back on because I don't have a vise and I didn't have nothing to heat it with. If I could have heated it, it probably would have come out easier. But what I did, I just put the vise on it, and then I put this on the end to give me some leverage. And at first it was really hard to turn and you could only get it just so much, but after a while I just kept working it. And once I got it so it would spin around fairly decent, it still wouldn't just come out. So I had to take a punch and I just had to keep hitting it, and after a while it finally came out. Okay guys, so I use this little screwdriver to dig around in here, and this here is the little rubber piece I'm talking about. This is what's causing all the problem. Anyway, now that I got that out, what I got to do is I got to clean this real good, brake clean, and I'll probably, like the other one, I'll get a rag and get down in there to get some of that out. Clean this bore here, and then it's a good idea to come in here and clean. This is where your, I'm not sure what they're called exactly, but they slide in here, and the pads come with new ones. These are the old ones, but I'll clean this up before I put these in, and we'll clean this up, and then I'll grease the pins. Okay, so I got it all cleaned up, and I put these here back in, and now here's the new slider pins, and they come with the rubbers and the bolts. Okay, now one of them takes a little rubber piece on the end, which comes in the bag right there. Now I'm not going to put that in, and that'll probably cause some controversy, but anyway, I don't want to deal with them. Okay, so you don't have to worry about them getting put in the wrong place. This one here won't fit in that one, so it's for this one here, and the one that takes the rubber goes over here. Now that rubber is to keep it from chattering, I guess. Some people put them in, some people don't, but that's the cause of the pins seizing up on both sides, so I'm not putting it in. You don't want to get it on the very end, or it can, grease don't compress, so it can stop it from going all the way in. So anyway, I'll put that on. I'm just going to get it in the bore here a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to replace this brake hose. It probably doesn't need to be replaced, but I'm doing it anyway, just so hopefully we'll get another 5 years or 6 out of this. So I'm just gonna clean some of the junk off. Okay, it's a 13 millimeter. It's best if you use one of these crescent wrenches, I think is what they call it. Okay, before I pull that too much, I'm gonna take this clip off. Grab that clip from below here, just pry it out there. And now that's loose, I should be able to use just the regular 13. There. Okay, so here's our new hose. I'll, in the description, I'll put all the part numbers. Okay, once I get it tight enough, I'll put this clip back in, and it goes from the bottom, it goes this way. Okay guys, so here's the new rotor. Very important, you don't want to touch this with your dirty hands. I wash my hands, but you don't want to touch it with your hand at all. I can use this plastic and just grab it by the center. And oftentimes they ship them with a little bit of oil on them so they don't rust. This one doesn't actually look like it has any oil on it, but I'll take some brake clean. I'll just go over it. It's okay to touch it here, but you just don't want to touch the braking part of it. Okay, we'll replace this little bolt. Okay, so we're going to replace this little screw. I'm going to put some anti-seize on it so it'll be able to come out next time. And if you don't have any anti-seize and you're worried about it seizing up, you don't even need it. Just put a lug nut on to hold the rotor in place while you put the caliper on. Okay, so here's the caliper all ready to go. The slides are nice and smooth. They got lots of grease in them. And I also put just a tiny bit of grease on these here so the pads slide. You want to make sure that the pads slide easily. You don't want them catching. And you can see this one slides pretty good. And other than that, she's pretty over. Oh, one other thing. These pads are the same except for, you look here, this one's got little dimples. They go on the outside. The piston goes against the flat side, and this here goes on towards the outside. It'll slide right over. Now we get the second one started. Take our brake pads and just squeeze them in. Okay, now I gotta get caliper cleaned up and ready. Okay, so now I'm ready to put the caliper back on. And it'll just slide right in here. These are 12 millimeter and those other ones are 18. So I looked up the torque specs on these, and of course they're torque to yield. I don't have what I need for that, but I'm just going to torque these caliper brackets. I'm going to torque to 80 foot-pounds. And these, the caliper bolts to the slide pins, I'm going to torque them to 25. So these brake hoses are 11 millimeter. I don't know if there's a torque on this. Just tighten them to crush them copper washers. Okay, so that back one's done, except it's got to be bled. But I'm gonna wait and bleed them all at the same time. Okay guys, so we're doing the front one. Okay, we'll start with just pulling this right off. The new brake pads come with new ones. Okay, so they're rusted up pretty bad. Okay, you got little pins here, little cotter pins gotta be pulled. You want to keep these. Okay, so we're just turning this so we can get that pin out. Okay, so now we gotta try and pound these pins out of here, and they're all rusted. Okay, it might be easier to get that off when I take the caliper right off. I guess if you're not changing the brake hose, you'll have to try to get it out while it's still on the truck. So, remove the brake hose. That up here out of the way. Okay, so there's two 18mm bolts holding the caliper on, this one and this one. Okay, I used the power bar to loosen these up, make it easier to come off. Okay, probably gonna have to pry it off because there's a big lip here on the. Okay, so now I'm gonna compress those pistons back. I already did one. You just do this slow. You can do this with it still on the truck. It's just where I'm. You just press them slow. And they say you should crack the bleeder screw when you do this. That way you're not pushing a bunch of debris up into your ABS. Okay, so we got them compressed in now. You just want to go in, clean all the rust and stuff out of here. Okay guys, so I got the front brakes all done. Unfortunately the camera quit, but it's pretty straightforward anyway. You just want to make sure that you clean your hub real good and you clean your rotor with brake clean. And I got the brake hose all replaced. Most of you probably won't even be doing that anyway. And then I cleaned up the caliper and cleaned up the pins best I could. And when you put the pins in, you just make sure this thing's centered. And then just pound the pins through and then put the little clips back in. And that's pretty much it. Now all I gotta do is I gotta bleed the brakes. Okay guys, so I just got back from taking the truck out. I never noticed any noises, any chattering or anything from the brakes. Got a nice firm brake pedal. First thing you want to do after doing a brake job is pump the pedal 2 or 3 times. You got to take up that slack that you got in it from compressing the pistons and the calipers. And then there is what they call a in-bed procedure or a break-in procedure for the new pads and rotors. Anyway guys, hope this video was helpful to somebody, and I guess we'll catch you in the next one.